Hello peoples! In today's video I'm going to cover the high and critical threat missions you should try, as they are a lot of fun to play with a group of friends, so don't skip on them. If you need a group to play Star Citizen with, well, there is a link in the video description to my Discord server. Hit us up, we're always looking for new people. First things first, you will not make a ton of Alpha UEC from the mission reward, as you will usually be doing it as a group. Now, they are a fun way to play the game, and they do give a glimpse as to what the play style we can expect in the future will be. Quick thanks to my org mates Hammerheads, Saint Nick Bond, Elite Genesis, Project 211, and Jalapenos for accompanying me on this mission. So get a snack, a tasty beverage, sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Now both missions are protection style missions found underneath the service beacon tab, and you will fail them if you don't protect the ship that's in distress. In the high threat mission that you are currently viewing, you will have usually 2 Hammerheads, a couple of Reclaimers, and a few escort ships like the Drake Cutlass, for example. Any heavy-hitting ship will work for these missions, as you will want to destroy the targets as fast as possible in order to complete them. In this case, I have a Retaliator bomber, and I use a single torpedo per Hammerhead to dispatch them quickly, while my org members work on clearing out the lesser threats. Ships like the Retaliator, Corsair, Vanguard, and Scorpius, the Inferno, even a Hornet, they're all going to work well for these missions because of their high DPS. Now in the critical threat mission, you will still see the Hammerheads, the escort ships, but just to bump it up a notch, you're going to get an Idris along with a payout of 360,899 Alpha UEC. So use the heavy hitters in your group to take out the Idris as fast as possible, as it can one-shot the ship that you need to protect and you will fail the mission. Here I have a Retaliator bomber, and I will dump as many torps as I can at the Idris. Now while I concentrate on the Idris, having a second group to take care of any escort ships will help you out a lot, as there are quite a few of them. You can see there's a lot of red dots here. So as you can see, I'm lining up my first salvo. Fired off 4 torpedoes in it, did a quick check on a Hammerhead that was nearby, and the Idris is going to target a couple of those torpedoes. Right there, you see him go for it, and I get 2 hits and 2 misses, unfortunately. So torpedoes and missiles are still a little unreliable. I did try to target the engine on the Idris just to make sure, because targeting subcomponents usually works out pretty good for guaranteeing a hit, but at least 2 of them miss. So I come back around on my second attack run on the Idris. I'm going to fire off 2 more torpedoes. Both of them will thankfully hit, but it's still not enough to take them out, and I will have to go do a rearm. Nice little hit there. Boom. Okay, so we do a quick jump to our closest station. So now we come back to the scene, and thankfully my org mates have managed to clear the space of all hostile escorts. They did an amazing job. Thank you guys for helping me out here. That allows me to concentrate on the Idris for my final attack run on him. As I close in, I'm getting some kind of weird fluctuation with my missile locking and not locking. I don't know if that's me or if there's something going on with the server or whatnot. It's kind of annoying. It's happened a couple times, but it doesn't really matter. I fire off 3 torpedoes at the Idris. All 3 do hit and do a lot of damage. However, he's still up and about. So what I'm going to do is close in the range a little bit more. I end up, I think, reducing my salvo down to just 2 missiles. I want to hold 1 in reserve in case I have to do another attack run later on. Now, you don't have to use a Retaliator bomber. You could use a couple Eclipse bombers. Anything that's got a really big punch will do when taking out the Idris. I would submit to you that having multiple Eclipse bombers coming at several different directions at one time would be a valid tactic to, number 1, split up the fire from the Idris, and number 2, make sure that your torpedoes are going to hit. So in this case here, I fire off a volley of 2. I just managed to clip him enough to get a hit with the last torpedo that was fired, and we're treated to, once again, another spectacular Idris explosion. Gotta love it. CIG, you got the explosions down perfectly. These are epic. So, in our particular case, for this adventure night that we have going here, we ran a critical threat mission as well as a high threat mission. And that gave us a lot of salvage. We had, at the end of the 2 missions, we had, I believe it was 2 to 3 Hammerheads to salvage, as well as the Idris, as well as 2 Reclaimers to salvage. So that's quite a lot. So what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to continue to play through this by going out and salvaging as much as we can. So I jump back, we pick up our Reclaimer here, and we start hull scraping the Idris. You're definitely going to want a lot of salvage ships if you want to do the salvage part of this exercise, or at least have a couple of Reclaimers to make it go faster, because salvaging an Idris with a vulture, a single vulture, is incredibly not fun. I mean, you're there for a very long time. Even in the Reclaimer, we were here for quite a long time trying to get all the hulls scraped off. Now, it's not bad to sit there afterwards and just kind of like decompress and relax and, you know, shoot the shit with your org mates while everybody's salvaging and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a welcome change, you know, from the combat that you did earlier in that day. But despite the fact that we were here salvaging for over an hour on just the Idris hull, meanwhile we had a vulture salvaging some of the other wrecks, we didn't get it all done. I mean, that's how much salvage is there. You can see here we sent a guy over to check out the cargo hull of the Idris, make sure there was nothing in there. Unfortunately, there wasn't. The Idris wreck is kind of like this big open pit. There's just nothing in there, no structure whatsoever. So we didn't think there'd be anything in there, but it was worth checking out. In the future, obviously, when the Idris becomes fully fleshed out, you can actually fly it in game. I'm sure that there's going to be cargo in these types of wrecks. You can also salvage things like the guns and all that stuff, which we did not do in this particular example because didn't really have any need for them. So we just decided to sit back and try to scrape as much of the hull off, and we were kind of curious to see how long it would take to do that. And after about an hour and a half, we eventually, because it was getting really early in the morning, we'd been up all night doing these missions and then trying to salvage everything, decided to call it quits and wrap everything up and take it back to Grimhex to sell all this salvage. Now, we didn't fill up the cargo bay, or I should say the salvaging bay, of the Reclaimer even after working on this Idris for almost an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45 minutes. So there's a lot of cargo that you, or I should say there's a lot of salvage that you can put in that Reclaimer. Just keep that in the back of your head. So once we decided to head on back, thankfully this time we did not run into any invisible asteroids or invisible walls or whatever that would destroy our Reclaimer, and we were able to land nice and securely at Grimhex. Quick trip down to sell off our salvage, and you can see that we have 71, I think, yeah, 71 out of 300 SCU cargo boxes in the Reclaimer, and they're going to sell at 6,306 Alpha UEC each. So that netted us a total of 447,000 and some change Alpha UEC. And that also means that if you were to do the math out, if you were able to fully salvage up and fill the salvage bay of a Reclaimer, you're looking at almost 2 million Alpha UEC. It comes out to something like 1,891,800 Alpha UEC. So that's a pretty good haul for anyone that has a Reclaimer. So what do you think of this mission? Do you like it? Do you hate it? You just don't want to bother doing it? You don't have people to do it with? If not, I'm telling you, get on our Discord. Let us know that you want some help. We're always looking for members. Leave your comments in the comments section below. Don't forget, do the thing with the subscribe, the like, the notify. Also, if you want some free Alpha UEC in the game and you haven't signed up yet, there is a referral code in the video description below. go ahead and use that. You'll get some free in-game money. Till next time, take care.